All right, let's dive into how to build those amazing, high-performing teams. You know the ones I'm talking about. We're going to break down the formula for creating teams that don't just, work together, but actually win together. So let's get right to it.
I mean, why is it that some teams just click, while others feel like they're constantly clashing? It's a question that I'm sure every single manager, every team member has asked themselves at some point. And that feeling when a team is perfectly in sync, it's just so powerful. But when it's not, wow, can it be frustrating? So what's the real secret here?
Well, a huge part of the problem, more often than not, really just boils down to this one thing: personalities clashing.
Yeah, these personality clashes, they're super common, and let's be honest, often really frustrating cause of conflict in the workplace. You've seen it, right? The introvert butting heads with the extrovert, or the big picture visionary clashing with the person who needs every single detail. These little conflicts can absolutely grind productivity to a halt. And look, it's a universal challenge, for sure, but the good news is it doesn't have to be a deal breaker.
So, okay, how do we actually get ahead of these clashes? Well, the common wisdom usually points to a few key things. You know the drill. Use personality assessments to see what you're working with, do some team-building activities to open up communication, and definitely include personality types right from the onboarding process. And all of that is good stuff. But there's a deeper layer here that we need to talk about. And this is where it gets really interesting. Because the real, long-lasting solution, it doesn't actually start with a group huddle or a team-building exercise. It starts by looking in the mirror.
Yep, that's right. Rule number 1 for creating results that actually last is this: building a great team doesn't start with a group activity. It starts with you. Each individual person has to have a really solid grasp of their own strengths and what they bring to the table. Self-awareness. That's the absolute bedrock.
And when you have that self-awareness, the benefits are huge. First off, you start doing what you do well, more often, and that right there is the fastest path to better performance. Second, you get a much clearer picture of what your unique contributions to the team really are. And third, and this is a big one, you start seeing your weaknesses not as problems, but as opportunities for growth.
Okay, so if we're going to focus our energy, where should it go for the biggest impact? Well, it turns out there's a pretty clear ratio. For you to be at your absolute peak, you should be spending about this much of your time working within your natural strength.
And here's what that looks like. We're talking about spending 80, maybe even 90% of your time and energy on your strengths. The rest, that little 10 to 20%, that's for your growth opportunities. Now, this is crucial. It's not about ignoring your weaknesses. Not at all. It's about being strategic with your focus. This is the formula for hitting your peak performance day in and day out.
It's such a simple idea, but it's also incredibly powerful. Think about it. If you want to maximize your performance, you spend most of your time on your strengths. If you want to minimize it, well, then you spend most of your time on your weaknesses. Top performers get this. They don't become great by fixing every little flaw. They do it by doubling down on what they're already amazing at.
Okay, so we've got the individual piece down. Everyone knows their strengths. Now we shift the focus from me to we. And this is where we get into building a truly complementary team.
So a high-performing team really needs to harness two things. On one hand, you have commonalities, similar strengths and ways of working. That's what builds that first, essential layer of trust. But on the other hand, you have the differences. And honestly, this is where the magic happens. Having those unique skills and strengths creates real synergy, where one person's best talents can cover for another's growth area.
There's a great sports analogy for this. You work on your weaknesses in practice, right? But when it's game time, you don't go out there thinking about what you're bad at. No way. You execute using your strengths, because that's how you win. The workplace is exactly the same.
Okay, so this all sounds great, but how do you actually uncover all of these strengths and differences in a way that's, objective? Well, you need a guide. You need a roadmap for your team.
And that's where personality assessments come into play. Look, it doesn't matter if it's DISC, Myers-Briggs, or some other framework. The key thing to remember is that these are not tests you pass or fail. They're just tools. They're objective tools that help you understand your own strengths, your teammates' preferences, and how you can all work together in the best way possible.
So really, you should look at these personality assessments as the roadmap to success. It's the map that shows you the best path to building a team that doesn't just get along, but actually thrives together.
And following this roadmap isn't just about creating better vibes in the office, though that's a nice bonus. No, this leads to real, tangible business results. So let's talk about the payoffs.
All right, benefit number 1, Objective hiring. You start making much smarter hires. When you use assessments, you can see beyond the resume and really understand how a person's natural strengths would fit in with and complement the team you already have. It helps take a lot of the bias out of the process. Benefit number 2 is a much better cultural fit. You can start to pinpoint the specific personality traits that lead to success within your unique environment. This way, you're not just hiring for the role, you're making sure they're a great fit for the team and the whole company culture.
Then there's benefit number 3, targeted development. Your training suddenly becomes way more effective because when you know someone's natural preferences and where they have room to grow, you can create coaching plans that are tailored specifically for them, plans that actually work.
And finally, benefit number 4, which brings us right back to where we started, smoother conflict resolution. When you have this deeper understanding of why people tick the way they do, you can see potential clashes coming a mile away and navigate them before they blow up. Conflict stops being about frustration and starts being about understanding.
So, let's pull all of this together and unlock your team's potential. Building a truly high-performing team. It's not about luck, and it's definitely not about that one-off team-building day. It's a repeatable formula.
And here's that formula. It's pretty simple, but it's so powerful. Step 1, you have to start with self-awareness. Help every single person on your team understand their strengths. Step 2, you analyze the team as a whole. You find those commonalities that build trust, and you celebrate the differences that create synergy. And finally, step 3, use your roadmap. Leverage those assessments to guide everything you do from recruiting and hiring to developing your people and winning as a team.
So when you put it all together, this approach gives you a really clear path for building teams that aren't just effective, but are truly exceptional. It really makes you wonder, right? Just think about your team for a second. What hidden potential is sitting right there, just waiting for you to unlock it tomorrow?